By way of introduction, Sam, thank you first of all for taking the time to join us this afternoon. I know it's a busy schedule for you all, and I know you've got treatment and things to be getting on with. So to take your time to talk to us is really appreciated. The guys who have got on the call at the moment, Hazel. She goes to our football welcomes women's session on a Thursday and does more in the community than I could ever regale. So she'll tell you a little bit more about that one. The two guys that I said in my top left-hand corner, I'm not sure where they appear on your screen, but the ones that are waving to you now, that's Abdullah, and to his right, one of the newest recruits into the Football Welcomes program. It's Miguel. I'm told he's 58 and he's from Mexico. So other than that, I don't know a great deal, but the lads they've just been out playing football. In what we call the Football Welcomes session, Football Welcomes program is for the people that you see on this call today. They're going to ask you just some questions about yourself. Please feel free to ask them about themselves as well. Hopefully, I won't need to get involved too much other than just sit and enjoy the conversation between you all. So. If that's a decent introduction, let's all crack on. Abdullah, I understand that you have a lot of questions written down. We only have a short time on this one, so don't go through all 56 of them. He's got quite a few. Abdullah, do you have your first question for Sam? Please fire away.
Hello, Sam. Assalamu alaikum.
Hi, Abdullah. Alaikum assalam.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, how's Ramadan?
It's good, yeah. Obviously, second day and it's good. But I was in London yesterday because I had the injections in my knee, the PRP injections. So travelling back today, so my knee's quite sore. But no, it's good. It's good. Enjoying it. With the little one, she'll be eating at 5. So obviously it's a little bit later for us guys, but all good, man. How about yourself?
I'm all right. Alhamdulillah. Good.
Alhamdulillah. Good.
So how do you keep with the Ramadan, while you're playing footy? How do you keep it
Last year we was in lockdown.
Yeah.
So I was quite lucky with that.
Yeah.
The year before it was in the off season.
Yeah.
Again, so I was quite lucky with that as well, just the timings. And then the year before that, I was at the World Cup. And to be honest, the way we did it then in Egypt, we was breaking fast around 6:30.
Yeah.
So we'd train in the evening, but everything was a lot later, and it was great because you're in a really good community. Obviously, you're surrounded by Muslims as well, which helps, and that was really easy. Obviously, this year it's going to be obviously more challenging, where I'm doing my rehab, and I'm doing my training to get back fit while fasting. I guess it's just the time schedule, really, just resting when you have to rest, and then. And training while you have to train. It's certainly challenging, but obviously very rewarding as well.
So, if, for example, you're gonna have a game tomorrow, and are you gonna fast or not? Like a proper game, let's say like a derby, will you fast?
Well, I'm injured at the moment. So.
Just imagine, it's tomorrow. There is a game. Are you gonna do it or not?
Yeah, well, we in the 2018 when we was having friendlies and with the national team, and a lot of players were fasting, and some physically couldn't, which obviously they made sure they did a lot of charity work, and they made up the fast at the end of Ramadan. So it is it's a tough topic. If I can though, I will fast. If I can, I will fast. Yeah, with the game.
Tell me more about Mo Salah, because I know your teammate there from national team.
Yeah, amazing guy, really humble, clean-hearted guy. Yeah, there for everyone, really kind guy.
Yeah,
amazing to be around. Obviously, he's a world-class player, but I think the important thing is first and foremost just a really nice guy, really funny guy, and a pleasure to be around.
Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah. Hazel, do Yeah, never mind just sitting looking at Samy. You're going to speak to him as well.
No, I think what I wanted to ask is answer the first thing, because the advantage that we have is that most of the things you find online about how tall you are and when you were born, where you're from, and stuff like that. But there's some things that are not there. So most of my questions are more on mental health.
Okay.
On your Twitter, you said something that really inspired me. When you say there's no shame in admitting you are struggling, it is time to help one another. Because I've always seen myself as someone who's very strong, right, and organized. But recently with this lockdown, the one that's still easing, I just found myself like anxious. And, you know, like when they asked me to do something, like now even with this interview, I started getting nervous, of which usually I wouldn't be like that. So when I saw your tweet, I was like, this is the right person to speak to, because right now you're injured, but still you're still, you know, making time to even have interviews like this one. So my first question to you is, right now, as you're injured, I know it's frustrating when you can't play. So how do you cope? Like, how do you keep encouraged and keep motivated?
No, really good question. And it come off the back of a good friend of mine committed suicide 2 weeks ago now, and depression, and everything else building up. And just speaking with my friends in the last week, actually, like 2 of them actually said they felt really depressed, they felt down, the lockdown. And so it's a common thing which is happening. For me personally, the best thing that I can do is stay busy. That is the best thing I can do, is stay busy.
I need to write that down. At least I'll get tips.
No, it sounds simple, but I've been there myself when you know you think too much and you're in isolation and whatever, and then all of a sudden your problems mount up in your head. Whereas for me, it's like by keeping busy, like I'm injured at the moment and I haven't given myself time to feel sorry for myself and why me and season over and all these things, which you can do. Or you can, obviously I was in London yesterday, and then I've come back today. I've got my daughter, I'm doing this interview. Later on I might go for a walk, and you know, there'll be plenty of reading the Quran as well, and just keeping myself active, because when you keep yourself active and busy, you find the positives. And that's why when Paul said to me about this interview, I was like, yeah, amazing. You know, I'd love to hear about what you guys are doing, because for me, again, is as much as I'm doing it for you, I'm doing it for me as well. You know, it's my pleasure to hear about things and hear about positive things which people are doing, because that inspires me as well. So the big one is keeping busy, just connecting with people, really. That's the biggest thing. I think the lockdown it's a lesson that connection, hasn't it, within people, because you haven't been able to see people, but just that connection, connecting with people, hearing about their stories. For me, that's everything to keep me positive and to keep me motivated.
And another thing, I'm very competitive, even if, you know, our games are just minor ones. So sometimes when we're losing, I feel like pulling my hand, kicking someone. So how do you handle a loss?
I've heard you're a midfielder yourself.
Oh, just like you, but the difference is I kick people. I don't kick the ball, so I kick people. So how do you handle a loss? Let's say you've lost. How do you handle that? Do you feel like pulling something, biting someone, or how do you handle a loss?
I've been a professional for 12 years now, and you know, there's a range of things. Sometimes I lose and I'm really frustrated, and other times I lose and I'm okay. It varies, really. I think it's good to have that competitive streak, and something I always try and do. I always try and, during that game or that period of competing, I try and you know, give everything I can, do the best I can, and then knowing at the end of it, that's there now, that's the game. So within the game, be present, enjoy, compete, everything. But at the end of the game, you know, try and, you know, it's done. Or even techniques I have used when I've been really frustrated. I'd say, for example, right, I'm going to give myself, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes to be angry, to be frustrated, to write everything down, to write everything I'm angry with, everything I'm not happy with. And then at the end of that 10, 15 minutes, I'll delete what I've written and I'll say, right, it's back to reality now. And that's one of the techniques I've used, and I've definitely found it helped me.
Yeah, I can tell you're a positive person, because I was, as I said, that the advantage is most of the things are online. So I found a few things. And
definitely.
One thing that motivated me about you is why you chose MFC, because there's somewhere where obviously there are lots of losses as well, but you didn't look at that when you were choosing a team, but you also looked at is it the manager? You said something about the manager. Yeah. What did you say? Yeah. Something about the manager that was there, about why you chose it.
Yeah.
So at least that also shows that you are like, that's why I wanted this interview, because you are kind of like positive person. You don't think, they are losing and I can't be with this team, but you look at the brighter side. But now I know you really you like playing for your national team.
Yeah.
But how would you feel the fact that you haven't been chosen like since 2018? How does that make you feel?
Just more motivated, to be honest, to do better, to try and improve. It's a new manager, and every man, it's a tough job because you can only pick a select amount of players. So for me, it's just being really motivated. Like, this period now has given me time to rest and recover and rejuvenate. But also when I start to get back to say, next season, I want to be the best version of me I can be. So it's motivating me, to be honest, because I want to be back there. I feel as if I deserve to be back there. And that's the goal, to be back there. So it's motivating, definitely.
I think this is almost like the last one from me. Yeah.
I'm sure it won't be, Hazel. I'm sure you'll think of something else.
No, just 2 seconds. Sometimes you see what I was talking about. Now I'm getting blank. That's what I was saying, that sometimes I get so anxious that everything's there. That's why I need this. And I think that will be all for now. Yeah. If I come up with something else, I'll ask.
Well, we'll come back to you, Hazel. Don't you worry about that. Guys, can I come back to you, Abdullah, Miguel? To a question which I think I would like to ask, and Sam will hopefully pick up on the back of it.
Yeah.
You have arrived in Middlesbrough. We wanted a welcoming community. You wanted a welcoming program, a welcoming area. What has Middlesbrough Football Club Foundation done for you, and how has it helped you?
Well, for me, it's maintain my physical condition, because it's more important to. For the lockdown, it's gonna be too much. Gonna be static, or nothing to do in home, and it's gonna be tough. Staying home, and I can read in books or something, but for me, because I'm start to play soccer when I have 6 years old, so in all my life, I play like a striker, no midfielder, but a striker, and I got a lot of trophies and all.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, in Mexico. And most of the time I play with my same age, like 50 to 60, because I'm 58. The same age, and I get a little bit in touch with that age, but with the younger guy, like here, like 22, 24, it's much different. It's a little bit more faster than I, and I'm dribbling and something, but they're recovering. and
nice.
Yeah, but it's gonna be, I make me feel young, because I play with.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, yeah.
Abdullah, you've been with the foundation, you've been with the Football Welcomes Programme, you've worked with us for quite some time. What difference has it made for you to have something like this programme to come to you? You're moving from an area which was a dangerous area. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you came
here. Like where you from? Like kind of like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Well, okay. I came in the UK like in 2016 January. Yeah. Then I get here. Well, was quite difficult. From Africa to here, it's not easy. Then I've achieved like to know to get in this city, like knowing people like Paul Southgate put me in at this foundation there, and which is I'm doing good at the moment. I'm doing the like employability with the MFC Foundation in here.
Nice.
Yeah, I also do a lot of the charity works around the city, and I go to school too. Yeah.
Nice one. That's amazing. I think you can't put a price on community projects and helping people, and especially in times like this where a lot of people are struggling. So just to be there and helping people, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, you're doing amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Hazel, we mentioned community work before and the way that you're involved in the community. Perhaps you could explain to certainly to Sam, that some of us on this call know your work, but I think Sam will be inspired by what you can tell him and what you've done and what you continue to do.
Oh my word. Okay. Where do I start? I'm an advice worker. I work for the North of England Refugee Service. So work with asylum seekers and refugees. So people have come to the country for a century. They're supported by the Home Office. So there's a lot of challenges that they face, like language barrier, financial, a lot of things. So we deal with issues like that and signposting them or referring them to organizations or agencies that can help. And I'm also a volunteer for Safe Families. I don't know if you've heard of Safe Families. It used to be called Safe Families for Children, but now it's just called Safe Families. And they're, children from, disadvantaged backgrounds that need support. Sometimes they just need a day out or just, some for a sleepover because mom has to go to hospital. So it's things like that I do. And I think it's kind of rewarding because the one that's more rewarding for me is the one I'm doing voluntary because I'm not getting paid. Obviously, when you're doing a job, you're getting paid. So you're doing something you love, but there's a reward for it. But with this one, Safe Families, I enjoy it because there's no money involved, but I'm doing it because I love helping the community. So for me, I put in I'm in a position whereby I'm very lucky because I'm helping our group, the minority, and at the same time, the locals as well. So now I have experience of dealing with both groups, like the locals and the minority group. So that has kind of increased my knowledge in different fields. Yeah. And the football as well. You didn't ask me, Gordon, about football welcomes because that's the one that made me end up here. So you see, I'm loving this one because I always say the same thing all the time, that it's a nice way of exercising, kicking people, running around, burning calories instead of, gym on your own. This one, we get to interact with people and it's kind of interesting. And this is another example. I'm talking to you right now. If it wasn't for Middlesbrough Foundation, I wouldn't be having this opportunity because we only see you like on TV or when you're playing, but I never thought that we'll end up face to face like this talking. And my daughter as well plays with us. She's 13, she's in school now. She's also had a lot of opportunities because of Middlesbrough Foundation. Was it in 2019, Paul, when she was a player mascot for England and Brazil women's? So you see something like that. She was already 13, was it? Yeah, she had just turned 13, but she had that opportunity to do that, which was really amazing. I felt like a celebrity for that time because my daughter was out there. So there's a lot that Middlesbrough Foundation has done for me, and I'm really, thank you, Gordon. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Hazel, it sounds like you're such a selfless person in what you do. Where did that come from, or have you always just been wanting to help people, or where's that come from?
I think I learned it from my dad. My dad loved football, so he was a manager, but back then we'd just call them coach. I only know about manager when I came to he was just a coach for the local team. So my dad was very, very kind. So it was a way for him to bring people together. We were, I'm from a family that could afford but not rich back in Zimbabwe before I moved to South Africa. I moved to South Africa in 2001. So with the little that we had, I would see my dad sharing. And even if, in South Africa, he'll only have 20 rands in his pocket, and then someone comes, needing help, he wouldn't even think about what am my kids going to eat tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just give. So he's always been that kind of a person. And he taught me another thing, that we are all equal. So to me, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, to me,
Doesn't
I just
matter.
see everyone. Yeah, we are all equal, because those you think are poor, they may be rich in something in family of which you who are rich, who's rich, you may not have that family, but you've got lots of money. So we are all equal to some extent. Yeah, so I learned a lot from my dad.
That's a really refreshing perspective to have, you know. And I agree with you, definitely. But that's amazing work you're doing, to be honest, you know, helping the less fortunate. Because obviously my dad, you know, many years ago was a refugee coming to the country as well from Egypt. And obviously I know, like, if he'd have had someone like you to help him, then, you know, he would have been really happy. So, yeah, incredible work.
Thank you.
Sam, picking up on your dad there, I was reading an article I think you did with the Wigan Observer last year, I think it was, and you were saying that your father runs a mosque in Wolverhampton. Is he still doing that?
Yeah, he is, yeah. He runs an Islamic centre, bought it 3 years ago now. And again, that's a non-profitable organisation. It's just a space where Muslims can just learn about the Quran, can pray, obviously during Ramadan for iftar and suhoor. So we're currently we're going to do a fundraiser for that as well at the moment, just for the Wudu area. But so that's something he's done. I mean, he's come from Egypt and he's done really well for himself. He now has, you know, many properties, and this is always something he wanted. An Islamic centre. It was always his dream. And so, well, his dream was, one, to drive a Rolls Royce or to open an Islamic centre, but he opened the Islamic centre instead of the Rolls Royce. But yeah, you know, that in a way for me, it inspires me as well. It's selfless acts. It's obviously it's only run by ourselves and donations, but I think that's what it's about for me. When you do these selfless acts, it's not about what you get; it's about what you give to people.
I think that is, you know, there's some nodding heads I can say in the conversation that we've got here as well. And you know, Abdullah, can I bring you back in here for this one? But just to pick up on a point that Sam was mentioning there. It's about having somebody to turn to sometimes, isn't it? You know, and it's sort of somebody who you can trust, and somebody who will help you along the way. You know, we all need help at some stage, and it's just about having somebody there. Is that what you found when you first came to the country, Abdullah? And just linking into what Sam was saying.
I think it's correct. Yeah, it's like the way he said. Yeah, it's exactly correct.
I mean, in terms, Sam, I know you move around. You know, you've moved around different football clubs, and it's slightly different, a different concept. Obviously, you're not moving countries, you're not fleeing away from war-torn areas. So we're not comparing those two. No. The comparison I was going to make is that you are moving to a new area, and usually at a football club, there's somebody there to help you. You know, there's somebody, you know, at Middlesbrough, you know, you may have Laura there, you've got Karen there, who will help you, you know, find places and help you settle in. If you extend that to running, you know, not running, fleeing from a war-torn area, from oppression, from persecution, there is no comparison there. But it is about having somebody there, isn't it? Somebody that you can turn to and somebody you can trust. That is the common bond, if you like.
I mean, Gordon, it's a great point, and it's something we need more of in football, actually, because it is uncomparable to fleeing the country and things like that. But I think we have this misconception in football that footballers are, you know, really mentally strong or sure on themselves, but it couldn't be. In many ways, it couldn't be less true in terms of footballers will be the most vulnerable people. I think because obviously it's that judgment every day, it's a judgment on the weekend, it's the uncertainty, it's moving club, it's 1 minute you value, next minute you're the worst person ever. So, I mean, the rate of depression when people retire is through the roof. And I think that is touching on your point, because you have all these suppressed feelings and you go to clubs and there's not... I know Brighton are doing it at the moment. I know that because I follow a page on Twitter and they say about it. But like welfare officers, maybe, I don't know if that's a word for it, but actually someone there to talk to you about things, about your problems. But as you say, when you move club, yeah, you'll have your teammates, you'll have your coaching staff, you'll have the player liaison officers, yeah, but you don't get, for example, you know, someone's not going to pull you in randomly and say, listen, how's things going? You know, how are you? You know, what's going on in your personal life? Are you settled? And to get that, you have to obviously build a relationship to where people then can open up and tell you about these things. But I mean, it's absolutely huge. It's something so overlooked in football. It's unbelievable. You spend all this money on assets, yet you don't look after the asset. And it's something which needs to be done, highlighting, obviously, Lee Collins' tragic death. That just goes to show that's just a young man with suppressed feelings and with feeling like he's got nowhere to go. So, in my opinion, there should be one at every club, you know, who works not for the club. So it's never for the club's gain. It's completely player welfare for the players' gain. And I think that's massive. And it's more and more. Players are struggling more and more. I think with social media, obviously, hasn't helped at all. But yeah, I think that's absolutely massive for people to have that support in whatever way, shape of life. Having that support system when you make the move's huge.
Can I ask something based on what he's just said? That was my other question that disappeared that time when I wanted to ask. Because, you know, like you're talking about, you know, moving clubs, like wherever you go to, you end up being like family with those people. They become like your family because you're with them, and it's usually on a contract basis. So if you're given a contract, like how anxious are you about it when it comes closer to the end of it? Like, are you always planning in advance on what you're going to do when it ends, or you just do it as it comes and just wait until another offer comes?
Yeah, I think in football, it's so predictable. It's so unpredictable. So obviously, I've got 2 years left on my Middlesbrough contract now. So I could sign another year, have 3 years left. Where you think, okay, great, 3 years, I'm at Middlesbrough. But equally, I could get a call tomorrow with the transfer window coming up saying, right, Sam, you're leaving. You're going to Derby County. Let's say you're going to Derby County. So sometimes you can plan as much as you want, but there's always a big insecurity in football because you never know. Sometimes out of your hands, obviously you will have the final say, but most players won't want to be where they're not wanted. It's about planning, but it's also knowing that with all your plans at any given time, there could be a huge spanner in the works. So it's just preparing, really, just making sure that your mental welfare before anything, just make sure you're mentally right for the challenges. Because of the amount of stories I've heard when players haven't been prepared and then they take a move and they didn't want to go, and then the mental health issues build up. So for me, it's always before anything, before physical, before playing well, before anything, it's putting your mental health at the highest place.
Miguel, Abdullah, can I just pick up on the back of that there? How mentally strong have you had to be, given, you know, the reason, you know, why you're here, given the reason that you're a partner of the Teesside community and very welcome to be so. But how mentally tough have you found it over the last few years or so? How strong have you had to be?
Well, well, some of my friends come from El Salvador. He invited to play soccer with the younger guys. And well, I'm saying yes, of course, because I have nothing to do. You know, I'm going to school, English school, and I have a voluntary job for the food bank. I really like and enjoy to help people. There for 2 days, I work there on Thursday and Fridays. And Wednesday is almost off, I think. And that's why I come here, and I really enjoy to play football with the younger guys. And I do a lot of things with the ball, and they call me Maradona. I don't know why. And they call me Maradona. Hey, it's coming Maradona. You say, well, Maradona's died, but I'm more I'm kind of the same age because Maradona is 60 and I'm 58. They say, well, that's okay. Call me wherever you want. Don't worry. And yeah, but sometimes I need to make a lot of exercise because I lost my physical condition because it's hard to stay at home for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? It's only eat, and it's no matter what if you do a little exercise at home, but it's much better go outside and play with somebody else. It's gonna be more motivation and fun because it's play around and they make me laugh a lot because they missing goal in front to the goalkeeper and say, what? Say, well, that's okay. And that's the reason here. And yeah, and it's okay because I'm trying to make a new friends because I live alone and in Stockton in England, and so I'm trying to make a new friends and yeah. And I really like to visit your stadium if you want a choice. Someday I come to stadium in Middlesbrough and ask the lady, may I have a permit to field because I play all my life football and I want to see the field.
Yeah,
said,
when the fans are back in, you're more than welcome to come. When the fans are back in, me and Gordon will arrange that for you.
Can't wait. Oh, thank you.
What, you as well?
Yeah, that's good to scout.
Oh no, brilliant.
Yeah. Guys, I'm conscious that we've kept Samy away from his family and from his rehabilitation, and I'm sure that we've all enjoyed his company. Are there any final questions for Sam before we let him go and carry about his own life? But we're grateful for your time, Sam. By the way, you can stay as long as you want to, but I'm conscious we've taken you a long time. Any final questions, guys? Abdullah, please fire away.
Sam, would you mind to tell me about your father? Because you told me he's an imam. Like, tell me more. Yeah, because I'm so obsessed with the reading Quran. Like,
okay, yeah. No, so he come to this country at 22 years old.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's all my family in Egypt are Muslim. So he's come, and it was always his dream to open up the Islamic Center. So he started off working in the pizza shop. He met my mom. They bought their first flat, and these days to buy property you could put very little down. So he just started to. Actually, I think he got a loan from my mom's dad for the first property, and then he just started to build up, buying property. He come with nothing. And just slowly started to build up more shops, flats, houses. And then obviously it was always his goal to build an Islamic center. So I think 2017, the casino was redundant in town. So it was old building. Yeah. So he went to the auction. We've bought that. We've done it out as an Islamic center. And then now we have it. So, if you're ever in the Midlands, you'll have to come for sure. But that was always his dream. And he's worked very hard from when I was a child. He worked very, very hard, very selfless. It was all about, this goal, and he's worked hard to achieve it. And obviously with that, he looks after all the family in Egypt. Obviously in here, we're lucky enough, we get medical bills, schools, everything's paid for. In Egypt, you don't get anything paid for. So he has that big responsibility, and he's still out most days when he can working, and that's what's got him to where he's got to today.
It will be nice one day to go and visit the center, because I love to stay, in a khuruj fi sabilillah. I go sometime.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Yeah, you have to come. Yeah. Inshallah, one day.
So what does it take to be a footballer?
I think it takes many different things, really. I think you have to have that love for it, the sacrifice, the dedication. It's a hard profession, but it's very rewarding. Yeah. It's definitely something you have to work at daily, and I think it's probably harder than what a lot of people expect, because it pretty much it has to be your life, to play football professionally. It has to be, like I've got friends in the conference and it's their life and it takes up, and they still get paid well, but it takes up all the life, So I think it's a big sacrifice to be a footballer.
So if you're a footballer now, yeah. So if not a footballer, what could you be like for now? Like what work would you do?
I'm not sure, to be honest. From probably 15, it was going to be football for me. I'd set my sight on it, set my vision, and boom, football. This is what I'm going to do. No negotiation. Obviously, there's been setbacks, ups and downs along the way, but my mindset was fixated on football. But coaching, something I'd like to get into, coaching in some capacity. It would definitely be to stay into sport, to help the young guys, to advise, to help. So something in that capacity, for sure.
Would you mind to tell me 3 things you'd like to achieve, like which you haven't achieved yet? 3
things I'd like to achieve.
Yeah.
I'd like to play in the Premier League. Hopefully, if we can get promoted next season, or that's the goal. That's a big goal of mine. To get into the next World Cup. That's a good one. But probably my biggest goal is probably just to be a good father for my daughter. She's 3 years old. And
what's your daughter?
Sienna.
Yeah, what does that mean? I know it's Arabic.
Yeah. No, it was me and a missus. We had that name for years. If we was to get a girl, it's Sienna. So I mean that for me is a big goal. Just to always be present in her life, always try and help her, guide, always be there for her, really, because there's not a better feeling being a father, and just try and do my best.
Nice. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's just say, I hope you recover soon. And another thing is, if I happen to meet you on the streets, I hope you remember me. Because if I say, I know Morsy, look at this face, I hope, when I say I know Morsy, I won't be embarrassed. I'm like, I know him,
No, it'd be great to meet you all at some point soon.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, I think it's fair to say that you are, in the best possible terms, unforgettable. But no doubt about that. Sam, before I go, it would be remiss of me not to pass on my condolences about your friend. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no problem at
all. Thank you for talking so openly about that. And in our discussion this afternoon, I will talk to the guys afterwards, but I will guarantee that this will be a very special moment for them to hear what you said and the way that you said it. Does really mean an awful lot. So,
brilliant. My pleasure.
What Hazel said. Quick recovery, please. Get back. I want to see you back on the pitch as soon as possible. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it, Sam.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Cheers,
Take care, guys.